Supporters of the Keystone Pipeline say a new State Department report is more proof that it is time for the Obama administration to approve the much-delayed project. The draft report was issued Friday. Now, it found that there would be no significant impact to the environment anywhere along the proposed route for the pipeline, but stopped short of endorsing the project, and now the issue is open for public comment. That means a final decision could still be a ways off. Joining us now, North Dakota Senator, Republican John Hoeven, who will be directly impacted by this. Senator, thanks for coming in today.
Good to be with you, Shannon.
All right, what did you think of the report on Friday? Because it allays some of the environmental fears that folks had, but it does stop short of saying it's a good idea, let's move forward.
This is actually the fourth environmental review that state's done, and once again it says there's no problem. It says no significant environmental impact anywhere on the route. So it really clears the way once again for the project.
All right, so a public comment period, 45 days, I believe, starts this Friday. So the department says they want to get that weighing in before they make a decision. We know that new Secretary of State John Kerry has said that climate change issues are a top priority for him. Do you think that within the State Department there's going to be resistance to the administration moving forward with this at some point?
Well, I've met with Senator Kerry at the time, now Secretary Kerry, at length before he was confirmed on this subject. He said he has an open mind and understand that there are less greenhouse gas emissions with the project than without it. So again, whether you look at the jobs, whether you look at energy, whether you look at not getting oil from the Middle East but producing it here at home, working with our closest friend and ally Canada, or actually the emissions, we're better off with the project than without.
All right, how do you explain then the very vociferous pushback to this project? Environmentalists have rallied a number of times here in Washington, trying to send a message to the White House and publicly calling out the president to, side with the way they see this project. And they say that it will be, quote, a runaway climate damage project.
Yet the report that just came out said just the opposite. There'll be less emissions with the project than without. And that's because by moving the product through a pipeline to our country, to the cleanest refineries, you'll have less emissions than if the oil goes by train or other means to ships and then to China. The false assumption that the opponents are making is that this oil won't be produced. It will be produced. The only question is, does it come to the United States to help us with energy security in this country, or does it go to China?
Also in the report, they say that construction of the pipeline itself would create 42,100 jobs, directly and indirectly. How do you think the president uses that information? I mean, do you think that's going to be additional pressure at a time when jobs are so desperately needed?
Absolutely. That's why the pressure continues to mount for this project. It's been 4.5 years that the administration has delayed it. This is about jobs, as you said. It's about more energy, so we don't have to import our energy from the Middle East. This is about creating revenue from economic growth to help with the debt and the deficit at a time when we're going through sequester. 70% of the American people in the most recent poll support the project. Now, I understand there's some in Hollywood and some extreme activists that don't, but the president needs to make a decision for the American people, and that means approving the Keystone XL pipeline project.
So why the delay? Do you think it was purposeful to get this past the election, or do you think that's just the way the timelines worked?
Well, yes, that's what it was. Again, it's about appealing to special interest groups rather than what serves the country and the American people. As we've gone through, it's about energy, jobs, it's about a growing economy to address the debt and deficit without higher taxes, but with economic growth. And it's about national security, not getting oil from the Middle East. We can produce our energy here. And in the final analysis, less greenhouse gas emissions with the project than without. It's not just me saying that. It's the State Department in their fourth environmental review of this project.
All right, quickly, I want to ask you, we have all this information. We've had a long timeline for making a decision here. How much do you think the president, who doesn't have to face voters again, is thinking about his long-term legacy as relates to this project?
Well, and this is a clear choice. History is going to judge that he stepped up and did the right thing for the American people. And remember, the oil in this pipeline isn't just Canadian crude. It's also from my home state of North Dakota and Montana, which is why Senator Baucus, a Democrat, is working with me in a bipartisan way. This is light, sweet crude we produce in this country getting to market as well. So history will determine, did the president make a decision for the country and what serves the country, or for special interest groups when he makes the decision on this project?
We will await that decision. Senator, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Shannon.
All right.